Which celebrities have famously gotten away with serious crimes? In 1975, Aerosmith vocalist Steven Tyler convinced the parents of 14-year-old groupie Julia Holcomb to sign over guardianship to him so that she could live with him in Boston. Tyler, who was 27 at the time, dated and did drugs with Julia for 3 years before they eventually broke up after unplanned pregnancy which resulted in an abortion. Tyler then returned Julia to her parents at the age of 17. That's just barely scratching the tip of the iceberg. It gets more messed up the more you dig into it, but nevertheless Tyler would continue his successful music career and even be inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2001. That is so effing disturbing. Has Julia ever spoke up about what she has been through? It seems like she has. Google her name and a few things pop up. I would link, but I had to go through a few sites. She said she was 15 when she met a 24-year-old woman who groomed her to catch the attention of a rock star. She caught Tyler's, and he was able to get guardianship over her. She said she was on birth control until he said he wanted a baby and threw her birth control pills off the balcony. She became pregnant a year later, and he decided that he no longer wanted a child with her. There was also something about a fire. She kind of alluded to it being set by someone and her waking up in smoke. It's interesting. Must do some more digging on my part. Salman Khan. So many famous crimes, killing a black buck, hit and run with his car, etc. They even made a game on one of his crimes, and he got that game banned from Play Store. Note, not the guy from Khan Academy. On the 28th of September 2002, Khan was arrested for rash and negligent driving after his car ran into a bakery in Mumbai. One person who was sleeping on the pavement outside the bakery died, and 3 others were injured in the accident. On the 6th of May 2015, Khan was found guilty of all charges in the case. The Bombay Sessions Court concluded that Khan was driving the car under the influence of alcohol, causing the death of 1 and serious injury to 4 homeless persons. Sessions Judge D.W. Deshpande convicted the actor for culpable homicide not amounting to murder and sentenced him to 5 years in prison. Later in the same day, Khan, being represented by senior counsel Amit Desai, was granted bail by the Bombay High Court till the 8th of May 2015. The kidnapping and eventual death of prime witness police constable Ravindra Patel remains a mystery, with some suspecting the involvement of organized crime. In December 2015, Khan was acquitted of all charges from this case due to lack of evidence. That's pretty effed up. And Sacoolas killed a 19-year-old boy in the UK because she was driving on the wrong side of the road and had a head-on collision with him. He was on a motorbike, so he didn't stand a chance in an accident like that. Then she scurried back to the US airbase she was driving from and got a flight back to the States. To this day, the US is refusing to allow her to be extradited to the UK to appear in court because of a bullshit diplomatic immunity excuse that doesn't even apply to her. Did some digging on this one. Apparently she has a history of driving offenses in the US prior to coming to the UK. Also, the airbase in question has seen a number of collisions caused by people driving on the wrong side of the road, including a collision with a police car. It seems to be a common issue, but clearly nothing is being done about it. Nobusuke Kishi, Prime Minister of Japan in the late 50s. Effa was called the Devil of Manchuria during the Japanese occupation of China, and was responsible for most of Unit 731 experiments. If you don't know what it is, it makes some things about the Holocaust look tame. In the final days of the war, seeing the tides shifting violently against Japan, he decided to cooperate with the Americans so as to not be executed for crimes against humanity. Pretty disgusting human being, and he never got punished for what he did. Pretty sure Charlie Sheen has a lot to answer for, yet has somehow never served any serious jail time, aside from other numerous domestic abuse accusations in his past. He actually shot Kelly Preston in the arm during their relationship. I don't think anything came from that. Preston was probably just glad to get away alive. James Brown, look him up, and what legal trouble he got into over the years. Didn't seem like a very nice guy, and he got arrested and charged a lot. Lots of assault, and in one case he kept a woman trapped so he could use her for sexual gratification. Might not all be true, but sure were a lot of charges over the years. Caitlyn Jenner ran someone over with her car and killed them. She's still walking free. I don't hate her because she's trans. I hate her because she's a piece of opera. As much as I want to comment about the countless fake doctor/bad advice on her show, no. Pimp for Weinstein is the one that really should be brought to light. And no, I'm not going to post about how there is a lot of ambiguity and it may be fake blah blah blah. There are enough pictures and statements readily available of them together that it makes the Trump/Epstein thing look like a completely casual relationship. She either knew and helped, knew and turned a blind eye, or intentionally made every effort to not. That someone could have handed her a bag with evidence that Weinstein is a sexual predator on it, and she would have thrown it away without even glancing at it. This is your regular reminder that Chris Brown violently assaulted Rihanna. A verbal argument ensued, and Brown pulled the vehicle over on an unknown street, reached over Robin F. with his right hand, opened the car door, and attempted to force her out. Brown was unable to force Robin F. out of the vehicle because she was wearing a seatbelt. When he could not force her to exit, he took his right hand and shoved her head against the passenger window of the vehicle, causing an approximate 1-inch raised circular contusion. Robin F. turned to face Brown, and he punched her in the left eye with his right hand. He then drove away in the vehicle and continued to punch her in the face with his right hand while steering the vehicle with his left hand. The assault caused Robin F.'s mouth to fill with blood to splatter all over her clothing and the interior of the vehicle. Brown looked at Robin F. and stated, "I'm going to beat the shit out of you when we get home. You wait and see." The detective said Robin F. then used her cell phone to call her personal assistant Jennifer Rossales, who did not answer. Robin F. pretended to talk to her and stated, "I'm on my way home. Make sure the police are there when I get there." After Robin F. faked the call, Brown looked at her and stated, "You just did the stupidest thing ever. Now I'm really going to kill you." Brown resumed punching Robin F. and she interlocked her fingers behind her head and brought her elbows forward to protect her face. She then bent over at the waist, placing her elbows and face near her lap in an attempt to protect her face and head from the barrage of punches being levied upon her by Brown. Brown continued to punch Robin F. on her left arm and hand, causing her to suffer a contusion on her left triceps. That was approximately 2 inches in diameter and numerous contusions on her left hand. Robin F. then attempted to send a text message to her other personal assistant, Melissa Ford. Brown snatched the cellular telephone out of her hand and threw it out of the window onto an unknown street. Brown continued driving, and Robin F. observed his cellular telephone sitting in his lap. She picked up the cellular telephone with her left hand, and before she could make a call, he placed her in a headlock with his right hand and continued to drive the vehicle with his left hand. Brown pulled Robin F. close to him and bit her on her left ear. She was able to feel the vehicle swerving from right to left as Brown sped away. He stopped the vehicle in front of 333 North June Street, and Robin F. turned off the car, removed the key from the ignition, and sat on it. Brown did not know what she did with the key and began punching her in the face and arms. He then placed her in a headlock, positioning the front of her throat between his bicep and forearm. Brown began applying pressure to Robin F.'s left and right carotid arteries, causing her to be unable to breathe, and she began to lose consciousness. She reached up with her left hand and began attempting to gouge his eyes in an attempt to free herself. Brown bit her left ring and middle fingers and then released her. While Brown continued to punch her, she turned around and placed her back against the passenger door. She brought her knees to her chest, placed her feet against Brown's body, and began pushing him away. Brown continued to punch her on the legs and feet, causing several contusions. Robin F. began screaming for help, and Brown exited the vehicle and walked away. A resident in the neighborhood heard Robin F.'s plea for help and called 911, causing a police response. An investigation was conducted, and Robin F. was issued a domestic violence emergency protective order.